Hey, welcome aboard for a Wednesday night. You're a part of the A Game. I'm Rob Akinpora from the Shared Universe Studios here on the Jersey Shore. Yes, I'm wearing glasses tonight. And no, this is not the reason. Not because Brett Talley's my guest and because I happen to look like his older brother. I should explain right out of the gate. I got a sty about 6 days ago. It is finally starting to heal, but I can't put a contact in there. It would just hurt way too much. So we are going with the glasses. Yes, we're twins. Just deal with it. Let me tell you a little bit about my guest, though. My friends, the Caulfields, who have been gracious enough to be on the podcast before. John Fay's been on now twice. Brett has been a part of the band for a while now. And Brett also has a great soul album that needs your attention called Nonlinear. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about a bunch of other things. But Brett, first and foremost, thanks for coming on. And I'm glad that when we were exchanging messages, you were like excited about like being a part of this because you know the people that are involved in a shared universe, like Ming Chen and Mike Zapcic from Comic Book Men.
Absolutely. I've been a huge Kevin Smith fan since like Clerks, and been a fan, followed him ever since. And then when he started his whole podcast network, I devour every show on there as well. So, and I didn't find it out until after we were on back in February with the Caulfields. I didn't even know that at the time.
Oh, shit.
I'm glad I didn't, because those guys would have been so pissed because I just would have talked the whole time.
Well, here's the good thing. Tonight, you can geek out as much as you want. That's the good thing.
I'm like so excited. I got an email today from Ming Chen, and I was like, holy shit, this is awesome.
By the way, Ming in studio doing all the engineering and all the great stuff for us. You two had a good talk beforehand, and I can see you were like beaming like, Ming's here! Oh, my God!
Yeah. I love these guys, man. I love them. I love them.
And there's an interesting connection that a lot of people don't realize between the Caulfields and the universe of USQ. One thing I do know, and I'm going to go back to like mid-90s, Brian O'Halloran, who is currently filming Clerks 3, became a big fan of the Caulfields. As a matter of fact, there was a little place in Long Branch. They were doing a show. He came out to the show. He's enjoying all the music. Him and John Fay just clicked immediately. And I don't know if they kept in touch over the years, but he was definitely a big fan of the band. But we were just talking before this. There's a great story about the Caulfields that almost became a part of the USQ universe. You got to tell the story.
Yeah. So I forget how it came up in conversation, but like I must have been talking about something Kevin Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And John was like, oh, yeah, Devil's Diary was almost in Dogma.
Almost.
I was like, wait a minute, what? So he tells me the whole story about Brian being a fan of the Caulfields,
yes,
seeing a few gigs. And then from what I was told, like Brian had pitched Devil's Diary to Kevin Smith. And apparently it was a go, but I think the scene that it was in got deleted, something like that.
That had happened sometimes when scenes do get dropped because of time and stuff.
Right. So me being the huge nerd I am, I went to a Philadelphia Comic-Con and I saw that Brian was going to be there as a guest. So I went and told John, I'm like, hey, guess who's going to be at, Wizard World? And I told him Brian was going to be there, and John was like, oh, that's really cool. And John came over and he gave me like every one of his CDs that had come out after the Caulfields. And he was like, here, tell him I said hello. So I go to the con and there was like a little line for people to meet Brian. And then I get up there and I'm just like, Brian, you don't know me, but I know you know John Fay. And he was like, oh, like you knew him right away.
Of course, yeah.
So I had explained, at the time, that's when we were doing Ike. So I was like, oh, John, we're in this band called Ike, but he wanted me to give you these. This is everything. And like, you would have thought it was a kid on Christmas. Like Brian, and like everyone else is standing there with their Clerks merch and everything.
Right.
And I'm like handing off. And then the best part about it is like, I shake his hand and then we go to walk away. And Brian's like, hey, do you want an autograph or a picture? I was like, I'll be back.
Yeah. I love it.
I was just like, are you gonna charge me? But yeah. So with Brian, I would know had checked in with John to see if any shows were going on and everything like that. But yeah, so that's as close as I get to the Smith universe.
Well, you've also have been such a fan. You've actually made it out to Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash in Red Bank, New Jersey. Well, for you as a fan going in there, that had to be like, okay, welcome to your shrine, so to speak.
Yeah. And I was going before Comic Book Men was like even on AMC, so
Hmm.
I was there anyway. And then once Comic Book Men happened, you know, you would go there. It was kind of a different scene, a little bit more crowded, which good for them.
Yeah.
But I started going there as like a fan, and then like when I was in the area, I would go because I was a huge comic book nerd. So, but I haven't been to the new setup yet.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to take the road trip at some point before the year is dead. Come down to Red
Yep.
Bank, we'll grab some food, and then you can check out the new stash. A little more room in the new stash, by the way,
I
too.
just want to come in and just bust balls with get them. That's what I want to do.
By the way, just to remind you of the band that he is a part of, give me photo number one, because this is their photo they took right before they came on with me a few months ago. And there they are, all in their glory. Brett Talley, Sam Musumeci, John Fay, and Richie Rubini of the Caulfields. They got a very cool thing happening down in Dewey Beach. It's the Power Pop Reunion. It's going to happen on September 9th and 10th. Listen, if you go online and find out more about the show, you also have probably a good chance to do it. Since it's after Labor Day, if you need to get a place to stay and spend the weekend, it's a great idea. If you've never done Rehoboth and Dewey Beach, you will have a great time down there. Now, the interesting part of the Power Pop reunion is to explain it more. I mean, give me photo number 10. I want to put up the poster here. It will have the Caulfields, but there's another interesting thing here called Beat Clinic. That was actually John Fay's first band. So it's kind of John's homage to a lot of the ties that bind him. And Olivia Rubini, who's been a guest on my podcast, that's Richie's daughter, who's an amazingly talented singer-songwriter, will also be a part of this. That's happening on the 10th. And you can get tickets through Facebook, because there is a link that you can find there. And on the 9th, they'll be debuting a film. Photo number 4, if you don't mind, Ming. The film is called 26 Candles. Now, this is also a passion project of Brett's, because Brett is basically the director. You edit it, you mix this. This is sort of the homage to a band who would have last year celebrated the 25th anniversary of Whirligig, but because of the pandemic, that was kind of taken out of bounds. So in a sense, this kind of replaces what would have been, in a sense, the 25th anniversary going out on the road and doing this. Is that kind of accurate?
Yep. Hmm.
Mhm.
So yeah, there was a reunion show planned to celebrate like the 25-year.
Right.
Yeah, and then that thing happened, and we had to cancel. So that's why we named the film John with his marketing genius brain 26 Candles, because you just had to wait. Just had to
Yeah.
wait a year
Wait here.
to get it. So that is where that comes into play. But it's funny you showed that picture, because like I remember that night being on the podcast.
Hmm.
We were just like beginning talks of like we had the footage from the concert. What are we going to do with this now?
Right.
We're like, oh, we're going to make a movie and blah 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 blah, and then we go on the podcast and say that, and here it is. It's done. Thank God.
But I get the feeling it was probably one, maybe a lot more work than you expected. But you look like somebody who's really into movies anyhow. So
Mhm.
flexing these muscles was something you really got into.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I learned making this is how much like I love editing, like
Hmm.
film editing, and finding the story, like the arc through all the different segments, and that's what this movie became for me. It's like it's definitely a concert film,
Yeah.
but the more we started getting into it and shooting some stuff on the side, I started to realize like, man, these guys are like getting really deep and in the mud about some of this history.
Hmm.
I'm like, that this should be in there. So like
Yeah.
as I started like piecing it all together, I saw, you know what, this isn't really just a concert film. This is like a documentary, or like a where are we now?
Yeah.
And I started getting like more excited about that side of it. And honestly, I'm more excited for people to see like those segments and those guys talking about the history and cracking jokes more than like the songs, because that to me, I said to John not too long ago, I'm like, this kind of comes off more like a documentary more than anything about you guys and like
Right.
what happens. So I'm actually having the band screening tomorrow night here in the studio for them to finally see it. So
Sure.
I'm sure they're going to tell me, take it all out, forget it. So I'm nervous about that, because by now I've lived with this thing since last February,
Right.
and I'm tired of watching it, to be honest with you. Like,
It's time for the baby to now come out and be like, "Oh, it's time to
yeah,
be born. Time to be born."
yeah, like the thought of like having to watch the whole 90-minute thing tomorrow night again with those guys, I'm like, just wake me up when it's done.
Well, how are you going to feel when it debuts September 9th down in Dewey? I mean, are you going to be like pins and needles, kind of going, "I hope everybody likes this. I really hope everybody likes this."
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I'm more concerned about like how's it being projected.
Okay, that's
is,
fair. There, the artist in you is coming out,
right.
of
I'm
course.
like, is the sound going to be good, or are they just going to have like a little flat screen TV on like a portable tray that with like a Bluetooth speaker? So, but yeah, I'm anxious to see if people are actually going to like engage and focus and watch it rather than, oh, it's just something on in the background and everyone's up bullshitting. I hope people like really, like I said, watch it
Yeah.
for the personality and like the heart that becomes like the through line. So I
I,
don't know. I'm more nervous about that than the gig the next night.
I'm looking forward to what's going on with September 9th with the debut. I hope this will actually get a little bit of distribution because people don't know the Caulfields were actually very successful in Australia with Whirligig, and they developed quite a following. So this would be something where in certain areas of the world, this would be something there would be enough of a market that you could get some views and get some attention on it. So fingers crossed on that.
Yeah, that's another conversation like we've been trying to have lately is, you know, once this is done and we show it,
Yeah.
how are we going to put it out to the world? So I know we were looking right now, like at Amazon. We're trying to get possibly on Amazon.
Sure.
We have a few friends that are kind of in that. I don't know. Maybe Ming can pitch it to Kevin or something.
Yeah, he's nodding his head like, "Oh, that's not a bad idea."
That would be ironic, right? I can see Kevin now. Kids, I almost had the song.
I'm actually thinking about another friend of the band, Leslie Fram, who I know is a big wig with CMT, but she's got a lot of connections in the
Okay,
television world as well.
let's do it. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Hey, John, you're paying attention? Call Leslie Fram. Call Leslie Fram.
And that's the thing. It's like, you know, if you're a fan of the music, it's great. But I feel like even if you can't stand the Caulfield's music, like if you watch this, like there's no way at the end of it you're gonna be like, ah, fuck this guys. Like
You weave together a really nice story, the good, the
I
bad,
think
and
so.
everything.
Yeah, I think so. So we'll see.
Brett Talley's here on the A game, of course, the Caulfields. He's known for playing guitar. He's been playing guitar with John Fay since the inception of Ike. Of course, John's had many incantations since the Caulfields. But also, Brett has taken time out to release his own new album. It's the second one's called Non-Linear, now available on bandcamp.com. I want logo number 3 up for a second because a lot of credit goes to this Philadelphia radio station, 93.3 WMMR, everything that rocks, giving him Artist of the Month in March, which was a nice feather in his cap. Preston, Steve, God love you, because I've known Preston for way too many years. I remember him when he was a lot heavier. I won't. He sees this, he's got going, shut up, Rob. But I mean, Jackson over at WMMR, I mean, he's involved in that, getting the local artist of the month. But that was kind of a nice shot in the arm as you're getting that album out.
Yeah, and it was like a complete shock. Like I just got a email. It was through Facebook from Sarah, and
Mm-hmm.
she was like, "Hey, here's what we're doing." I was like, "Oh my god!" And it was cool because you know I've been lucky to be played on MMR before, like with my very first band, the Jackson had seen, and then you know I got played a few times with Ike with
Mm-hmm.
John, and that's great. You know, and I definitely had that thing you do moment where you're running around screaming like I'm on the
Of
moon.
course. Of course.
But it was exciting for me because it was the first time something of mine that like I wrote and it was like my vocal like had ever been played on there. So you know that was crazy to me because I was a huge 93 3 nerd. You know, back in my old jobs when I get out of school, I was always filing paperwork, listening to MMR. Um, and also another thing, because I get kind of sensitive like that, it's one of those things where like a lot of major news I've ever gotten was from MMR.
Mm-hmm.
So like I learned about Soundgarden breaking up. I remember listening to about Kurt Cobain.
Mm.
Um, and like the news about Tom Petty, and I'm a huge Tom Petty fan,
Right.
and like that is in my history, and like to know that like my music is like on that station now, it like just blew my mind.
When you grow up with a radio station and all of a sudden it's like, that's my voice, that's my music. I mean, it has to hit you with so many different emotions. And it's sort of that joy, sadness, elation. And also, like you said, all these memories start coming back. It's like going, every major event in rock music that I found out about was
Yeah.
because of that radio station.
Yep. So I mean, and it was funny too. The first couple plays I got were for the song "Coming Back to Gravity,"
Mm-hmm.
and the second week they played it again, and I was like, "Oh wow, okay, is that how it works? They just take one song and then I was like, oh, maybe someone liked it and they're playing it again."
Right.
But then I get an email from Sarah, "Hey, just letting you know the MMR server crashed and we just played the song we played the other night." And I was like, "Oh, okay." She's like, tonight we're gonna go with another one." Okay.
Sure.
I turn on MMR, "Coming Back to Gravity" again, and I was like, "Oh no!" Same exact email from Sarah. "Hey, guess what? It happened again. Must be your music. Wink, wink." So I was like, "Wow, this is crazy." So I'm like, and this is where John Fay is awesome, right? Because
Right.
I'm all like, "Oh man, I just lost 2 weeks worth of like other songs," and John in his John way was like, "Yeah, but it might be a good thing that they played the same song 3 times. It becomes an earworm." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Yoda, you are,
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Obi-Wan.
yeah." So I got over it, and then they fixed it, and they played some other songs, but
As a matter of fact, we're gonna play "Coming Back to Gravity" a little later here on the A Game. But the first song I want to play, this came out. This is like the first one that came out. What I love about Secret, there's no unabashedness about power pop in this song. This is pure power pop. It is a beautiful, beautiful song. I mean, if you can set it up first when I get ready to play the video, what can you say?
yeah, this song was like one of the, there was a lot of songs written prior to the album getting recorded, but Secret was actually written like in the studio and kind of came together like really quick, and it was like one we were kind of like on the fence about. But then when everything was said and done, it became like our favorite song, and on an emotional level too. And now it's like me and Jay's, who play drums, it's like our favorite song on there. And
I can see why. Absolutely.
and then from working on the movie, I was learning all this stuff about like cameras and lighting, and a good friend of mine who's a filmmaker was kind of helping me out. And I kind of shot the video for Secret as just a test to see what I could do with lights and my iPhone.
Right.
And that's the video. It's not that exciting, but when I watch the video, I'm like, oh, that's me just trying to see what lighting can do.
Yeah, but I think, Brett, nowadays, because of YouTube, to promote music, you got to have, even if it's a simple video, it pays to have that video. You guys found that out when the Caulfields covered "Love Will Keep Us Together," which you did for charity. Creating that video gave you the attention that you so richly the song deserved. And I think it's the same thing with your song "Secret." Getting the video out there was just another way of kind of saying, hey, pay attention to my song. I think you're going to like it.
Yeah, it definitely creates a mood. I know. I've been told that. I'm like,
Agreed.
that's the answer I get. Like, do you like the video? Well, it has a mood. Like, all right, that's fine. I'll take it.
So here we are. We are about to set the mood from his latest CD called Nonlinear. Check this out. This is Secret from my guest, Brett Talley, here on the A Game.
Change in this town. Do you feel way down with all this?
The new album's called Non-Linear. That is Secret from Brett Talley here on the A Game. You can find that CD or album or just get the music downloaded through Bandcamp. And love that lyric. Time is running out on this doomsday clock. I mean, it's sort of like you've got this beautiful power pop song, and there's some dark tinges in this song. There's no other way to describe it.
Yeah, I'm a huge Smiths fan,
Mhm.
so that should just tell you everything you need to know
Yeah,
there.
yeah. It's about to say if you're a fan of the Smiths, you're not afraid to kind of go down that path. No
Like,
doubt.
here's this happy music. Let's get sad.
That's an interesting comparable on that. It makes that comparable makes a lot of sense with that song.
Hmm.
Again, go to Bandcamp, get the CD. We'll give you one more song before we're done here on the A Game. Before I get to random shots, Ming, I want to take a look at the photos. And I want to put up something. This is kind of a personal thing, but this is photo number 6. This is going back a few years, Brett. But this is something your friends did for you. Best way to describe it, you're a cancer fighter, cancer survivor.
Yep. Yeah, and it's crazy because it's literally like the anniversary of that 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in 2013, I got diagnosed with something called CML, which means chronic myelogenous leukemia. Um, and because of it, I have to take this like chemotherapy medication like every day for the rest of my life.
Ouch.
So, but hey, it keeps me alive. Uh, and yeah, without that pill, I wouldn't be here. But a couple months after I had gotten diagnosed, John actually came up with the idea of kind of like just having a benefit show for me because at the time I was just like tons of doctor's appointments and
All right.
all that stuff.
And a lot of people don't realize that, when you are a musician, you may not have full medical benefits. If you're out just gigging, you're depending on the gig money, and
Right.
there's no safety net.
Right.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show you how bad it was because like I was working for the city and I had pretty good benefits and like
Mhm.
the benefits I had just like still weren't enough.
Wow.
So it was insane. But yeah, I mean, John got like all our friends together for a night and everybody got up and I think did like one or two songs. I remember just that night was so crazy for me because like of like 14 acts, I think 8 or 7 of them wanted me to play with them. So all I remember from that night is being in the green room with the next band or artist going out and me practicing their song with them like real quick.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, that was a great night. And it was just, I remember being on stage towards the end of the night, just saying thank you to everybody and just feeling like the whole Philadelphia original music community just all as one, That's the one thing I've always loved about like the Philly scene is there's not a lot of rivalry, between local bands and artists. It's just,
Right.
You go to anyone's gig, like on a Wednesday night at 11 o'clock is their set. Like you'll see John Fay there.
Yeah.
Like that's just the type of crowd it was, and just to be involved in that and like feel the love and support, like something I'll never forget.
Well, I think I speak for everybody that has gotten to know you or does know you. Thank God you're still here. I think it's great. Hey, look, 8 years, fantastic. May there be another, 18, 28, whatever the case may be.
Hope so.
Happy to have you, my friend.
I really appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. Brett Talley, it's time for Random Shots. This is where I basically become a stalker on your social media. You've seen the podcast. You know the drill. Okay, the random shot in your honor is Pennsylvania Rye Whiskey from Dad's Hat. So with that in mind, this will be a dual toast. Like, thank you for coming on and salute. Continue to fight cancer, my friend.
Thank you.
Ooh, okay. That woke me up. Okay. First few questions. This is a little yay or nay, and you can explain how you feel about them.
All right.
I'm going to start with kind of a question I posed to Olivia Rubini. It's about Scrapple. Are you yay or nay on Scrapple?
Nay.
Nay. Okay.
Hard nay.
Hard nay. See, this is interesting. Richie in the band is a definite yay on it, and you're just like,
I know. I know. I trust me. I know.
Oh, believe me. I did the whole thing with Olivia actually, eating some Scrapple, and Richie's like, "going, you didn't do it right." I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't do Scrapple that often.
That's what I remember Richie saying was like, "No, that's not it."
I was happy to find Scrapple in Jersey. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Film and TV reboots Fan or not a fan?
Ooh, yeah, fan.
Fan. Okay.
Mhm.
So you have no problem if they decide, okay, you know what, we're going to take this old thing and we're going to try to do it in a more modern version or put our stamp on it.
I'll say this: I'm in support of it. However, I think there are some things that should never be touched. Case in point is The Exorcist. The
And
Exorcist.
I saw the post that you made about that, and that was very interesting. That that next year, I think it's coming out, and
Yeah,
Ellen Burstyn from the original Exorcist is going to be a part of this.
right. Like, you don't need to do The Exorcist.
Right.
It's fine as it is, and to me, it's just the studio system just wanting your dollars, and it's going to be a trilogy, right?
Mhm.
So the first two movies are just going to be like teasers for the third film. Like, I'm very upset about that. However, having
However,
said that,
right.
I'm a huge Halloween fan, and they can keep making those all they want because I love it.
Uh, Potential future guest for me is Butch Patrick, who's a part of the Munsters, and I'm sure you heard about that with Rob Zombie
Mhm.
saying it's going to be a comedy. It's just going to be a little darker. You're okay with that idea,
Oh
aren't
yeah, bring it on! I'm like one of the only people that like enjoy Rob Zombie films.
you?
You know,
You know what? He's an acquired taste. This is just plain and simple.
right? Like the last movie he did, Lords of Salem, I
Mhm.
actually thought was like a good movie on a filmmaking level. Like, I was like, damn, Rob, all right, starting to see that cinematic eye a little better, but I'm yeah. Overall, go for it. Like
Go
Dune,
for
I'm ready for Dune, baby. Give me Dune.
it. There you go. One more yay or nay, and it's because I was, stalking your social media. The
Yeah.
Handmaid's Tale. Are you yay for it or nay for it?
Ooh.
I couldn't tell, and I'll explain. Give
No.
me photo number 5 for a second, because this was your post, by the way. Okay, avid horror fan and film lover, as we're all discovering, and you may know that. I've seen almost everything that's controversial and unsettling. Having said that, I think The Handmaid's Tale is the most depressing thing I've ever seen, and I'm only on season 2. Wow. So I don't know. It's like going, is this good? Is this bad? What?
I love it.
Okay, there we go.
It's great. Oh, yeah, it's great. I mean, for any piece of art to elicit that feeling from me,
Mhm.
I have to love. So, yeah, I'm not caught up. I haven't watched like the new season yet, so no
Right.
spoilers. But yeah, I love it. I like anything that grabs you by the balls, pulls you in, and makes you feel something.
Mhm.
And
Enough.
I felt a lot of depressing shit with that.
And sometimes that's not a bad thing. I get it. I get
Right.
it
And
completely.
then when I start to feel like crap, I go and I put on Comic Book Men, and I'm fine.
Ming, I'm telling you, he loves you. He loves you.
I miss Comic Book Men. AMC really screwed the pooch on that one.
Uh, I think we're all in agreement on that.
Hmm.
Random shots with Brett Talley. Okay. I was going to use the photo, but you might as well just show it on your arm. And this is speaking of
Yeah.
art, the NIN.
Oh,
There we go. If you may.
uh,
There it is. Okay. The logo came out perfect. So great job by the tattoo artist on that. And I believe tattoos have a personal, meaning, or there's a story behind it. So what's the story with putting Nine Inch Nails logo on the
oh
arm?
man. Trent Reznor is like my inspiration for everything
Mhm.
as an artist. And Nine Inch Nails is also responsible for inspiring me to go to audio engineering school.
Oh wow. Okay.
When I heard the Downward Spiral for the first time, I was coming home from the shore. My dad had won me the cassette tape on the boardwalk,
Mm-hmm.
and I had my headphones in, and I remember I had gotten Lives Throwing Copper the same day. It was like the same winning.
That's another great CD, by the way.
Right. So
Yeah.
I listened to that first going home, and it was live. It was exactly what I thought it would
Hmm.
be.
Yeah.
And then I put on like Downward Spiral, and I just remember being in like the passenger seat of the car, being like scared. I was like, "What am I hearing? What is this?" And then it just kept going and going, and I was like, "I need to learn who this guy is. I need to learn how he's making these sounds because this sounds nothing like that Throwing Copper album." And from there, I just became a huge Nine Inch Nails fan. And then anything he did or like put out, I just would obsess about. And I can't tell you how many YouTube down like rabbit holes I've gone watching
Hmm.
interviews, just trying to learn as much as I can. Because not only with his production uh, talents, but just his view on the music business and how he runs music and how he distributes albums.
Hmm.
And he's won an Oscar, he's won a Grammy, he's won a Golden Globe, he's won an Emmy. I think the only thing he needs is like
A Tony.
a Tony.
Yeah.
I was watching the most recent Pixar film with my son, and he's watching for the movie, and I'm listening to the score, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm listening to Trent
Trent
Reznor
Reznor, of course.
score a Disney Pixar film when I remember like Woodstock '94, the Mud Fest. I'm like, this is that guy smashing keyboards. Um, but I just everything he does, like even down to putting on shows, like how much thought and preparation he puts into like the live shows. And like I happen to know a guy that went on tour with him a couple times and just said he's the nicest guy, and he's like, I'll work for that guy
Hmm.
anytime, total professional. So like just knowing all that stuff, like I'm in love with him, Rob.
You got to have a man crush. That's a good choice. I got to
Yeah.
give you that. Random shots with Brett Talley. Okay, we were talking about earlier. You met Brian O'Halloran at a con in Philadelphia, and you are somebody obviously that has a love for the con universe. Because I'm gonna take photo number 7 for. Hold it. There we go. Kevin Smith and Buddy Christ. But photo 7 shows you with
Yes.
Giancarlo Esposito, fantastic
Yep.
actor. And
I
then
got to
photo,
tell you about that.
yeah, and then photo number 8. Here's another one, Linda Blair.
Hmm.
So, I mean, obviously, for people who are not into the con universe, I want your take on it. What made you gravitate to the cons that you just totally like? Oh wow, this is a great day out.
I first went solely for just comics, straight up.
Hmm.
Me and my friend Chuck, who's also a huge Kevin Smith fan, we would go and just look for comics. And
Right.
then, like, the more we kept going, we noticed that like comics were becoming less and less of the focus, and it was more about guests and things like that, and like vendors like selling toys and stuff.
Yeah.
So like the last couple of years, I haven't been there, but I'm lucky enough that I have a few friends that like work there as volunteers who kind of
Sure.
have to escort the stars and stuff. And I had a friend who was at Linda Blair's booth. Now, as much as like I said about The Exorcist, don't remake it. It's also the only film in this world that scares me that I cannot watch alone. Even if I watch it with somebody, I have to have a light on, and then the next
Wow.
couple of weeks, I'm watching, Pixar films.
Okay.
And it's because I saw the movie when I was really young,
Oh, sure.
and it scarred me.
Bingo.
So my, personal therapist was like, maybe if you go meet her and talk to her, and you just see she's a normal person, like all
Mm.
your fear will just leave you. So my friend was happy to be working Linda Blair, and she texted me. She was like, "Hey, I don't know where you're at, but no one's at Linda's table if you want to come over." So I was like, so there she is, and I get up to the table, and luckily my friend was like, "Oh, this is my friend Brett," and
Mhm.
he's a big fan, blah blah blah. And I just went into the story of like how I was conned into seeing the movie, and like how I'm a grown ass man, and this movie still scares me. And she just says to me, like all her pictures and the stuff that she would sign was in front.
Mhm.
She goes, "Honey, do you see all this? It's fake." And I was like, "No, I know, Miss Blair," but like, and she was like, "It's just special effects." And then the thing that she said that like really cracked me up, she was like, "None of it was real." Well, maybe the story it was based on was real, but like the movie's not.
Right.
And I was like, "I don't know if you're helping me or making it worse, Linda." And then the next 10 minutes became her trying to sign me up for some dog adoption company.
Aw, yeah. I think Ming was actually in the background kind of going, yeah, yeah, but
Yeah.
you've probably seen that, Ming, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. But the one when I met Giancarlo,
Hmm.
that was great, and that was like a real quick like, "Hey, how you doing? Here's a
Sure.
signature. See you later."
Yeah.
And I get up to the table and I had a Breaking Bad shirt on. Surprise.
Surprise.
And he said something about the shirt, and he's like, "Well, come on, I got to take a picture of you with that shirt." So I stand up, and my friend like grabs the camera, and right before he takes it, Giancarlo goes to me, "Do you want me to be me, or you want me to be Gus?" I was just like, "Be Gus."
Be Gus.
And he just went, "There it is."
Yeah. That look. Exactly.
And then it was, "Thank you for your $70.
Yeah, of course.
See you later." And then I run into Ming in the middle of the hall.
Oh, really? Ah, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me and my buddy, we were just walking somewhere, and I was like, "There's Ming," and then Jug was like, "There's Mike." So they were just walking down an alley, and we were those assholes who were like, "Hey guys." And I remember we're standing in the middle of the Philadelphia Convention Center, like taking our toys out of our bags. We're like, "Ming, look at this Batman figure I got." It was crazy.
Ming, do you remember this? You can chime in real quick.
Yeah, I believe that was 2015, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
but you don't remember me. I got a picture of the
I-
four of us. I'll have to send it to you.
I don't remember you. I remember the toys though. So thanks, man.
Yeah, I remember you telling us we had a quote nice haul.
All right, let me get to the next random shot. I got to play to your Philly roots on this, and this is one of my favorite places in Philly. So I'm kind of curious. You're at the Reading Terminal Market. What's the first place you go into in the market?
Oh man, Daenerys. It's an Amish chicken place in the corner of the terminal, like literally the corner.
Yeah,
and it's the best wings I've ever had, and it's like a rotisserie. It's a beautiful thing.
Know
You
it.
have
Yep.
to know what you want when you get there,
Mhm.
but they're only there from like Wednesdays to Saturdays.
Right.
But yeah, that's my go-to. And
Yeah, and for me it was
John have been there a few times.
yeah, for me it was that and Denix. I mean, it's like
Oh yeah, a classic.
absolutely. And since we mentioned MMR earlier, I got to do this because this is still the only place. When I go to the Reading Terminal Market, Ming, give me photo 11. I have to get this. Come on. I still can't find the Bassets in Jersey. So, Preston, Steve, I know. It's like, come on, bring this to Jersey. You know, just so I can be supportive of my boys there. That'd be great.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
but to me, that's a Reading Terminal staple. That really is.
I've never seen it or have tried it, obviously.
Yeah. Okay, now I had written this question out before I saw your shirt. Now, mind you, you're wearing Pulp Fiction, but my whole thing was, okay, based on a post that you made, what is the better movie scene? Ming, I'm going to start with photo 12, which is Batman interrogating Joker in The Dark Knight, or photo 13, Jules and Vincent, Brett's apartment, Pulp Fiction. Now, of course, you're wearing the Pulp Fiction shirt, so maybe that might give it away.
Man, I love this. Can we just do this the rest of the
Yeah.
night? God, I feel like Smith now. That's tough.
Yeah.
God damn. Gun to my head, I have to go Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. For me, it's like right away, because right away I can just do that whole thing. Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what? One more goddamn time.
It's like one of the only movies, too, where there's a Brett, and there's a Brett in that scene.
That's true.
I always wanted to get that as my ringtone. Check out the big buried old Brett.
Hey, come on, man. Ezekiel 25:17.
Yeah.
And it's nothing against The Dark Knight, but it's like, I think anybody who's watched that clip in Pulp Fiction, they can quote at least one part of that scene.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And plus, it's a longer scene, more iconic. You know, as much as I love Dark Knight, man, I just feel like a piece of my soul.
Like I said, I had a couple of interesting curveballs I had to kind of throw.
I love that stuff. I'll keep that all the live long day.
I can tell. I mean, man, like I said, I could probably just done a whole show of like going, okay, let's rate your top 5 of this, and you would have just been in your glory. Now I can understand why the band was happy that you didn't know about the View Askew connection. But again, I'm really happy that you were like so psyched about this, and the connection. A lot of people don't realize a lot of these connections between a shared universe and View Askew with the Caulfields and your fandom. I mean, it's been great to kind of talk about this, and I really appreciate the time.
Oh, I really appreciate it. As you were just saying that, I just envisioned how funny would it be to have Kevin Smith as the final scene of the Caulfields film where he just looks at the camera and goes, I should have used Devil's Diary. Credits. I think I
Hey,
got
look, I'm still wondering what music they used for Clerks 3, because it's like, and when I heard 1979 from Smashing Pumpkins come up in Clerks 2, I was actually like, whoa, nice touch, So I'm really curious. It's funny. I know Brian's going to be great in the movie, and something to keep in mind, Brian and Jeff, Dante and Randall, will be doing some cons together. They've never really done that, so it's something for you as a fan.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, something for you as a fan to keep in mind. But
awesome.
yeah, but you and I are kind of on that same call of like, what music will they use in Clerks 3?
Right.
Something to ponder and keep in mind for the next time. But I will leave you with these reminders. The Dewey Beach Power Pop Reunion is happening September 9th and 10th. It's a 2-day event. September 9th will be the movie first. That's 26 Candles. And this is the movie that's been Brett Talley's, let's say, love project to the Caulfields and the band that he is in. It is more of a documentary than just a concert film, so definitely worth checking out. And then on the 10th, it is the festival. The Caulfields, Richie Rubini's daughter, Olivia Rubini, a very talented person, is a part of this. And John's original band, the B Kling, will be doing a couple songs. Go on Facebook, find out more about this, and I can guarantee you, if you go down to Dewey Beach, Rehoboth Beach area, you're going to love it. And even if you're a Jersey Shore fan, you have an appreciation for Delaware Beach. It'd be a good weekend, so think about that. And it's free. There you go. Nonlinear. Yeah. Nonlinear is the album from Brett Talley, now available at Bandcamp on his page. Go download some of the great music, and we're going to wrap up with a song that we were talking about earlier. Coming Back to Gravity, in my opinion, the minute I heard it, I went, okay, bravo, the Ode to Bob Mould. I mean, right away. And obviously, you had to be a fan of Bob.
Yeah, I was. It's funny. And I really didn't get into his music until like after that album came out, because everybody was telling me that it reminds me, or it reminds them of Bob Mould. So
absolutely, it does. Yeah.
I went back, and now I become like a Bob Mould fan because of that. So
you really didn't realize that, what he did with the solo and with the band Sugar and all that stuff. That's wild. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's one of those things like better late than ever, I guess.
Hey, look, man. I was about to say, to be compared to Bob Mould, there's no shame in that. And this is a great song, something to think about and pick up to download. To wrap up this session of the Gay Game, let's bring you the latest song from Brett Talley. This is the latest single. It's called Coming Back to Gravity.
Sea of promises you made to me, words are flowing from you in a broken, distant memory. And I never thought we'd find a kind of love hidden in disguise. Always mean what you say, regardless of the company. It's easy to speak when it's honest and with sympathy. Leave these games you play with me. Coming back to gravity. Jealousy of past lovers, especially childish and selfish. My brain is my worst enemy, and I never thought you'd find some kind of love hidden in these eyes. Always mean what you say, regardless of the company. It's easy to speak when it's honest and with sympathy. Leave these games you play with me. Coming back to gravity. company. It's easy to speak when it's honest and with sympathy.